the Vishnu Purana, a system of Hindu mythology and tradition, translated from the original Sanskrit by the late H. Wilson, Buddhist professor of Sanskrit in the University of Oxford. Narrated by Anita Saran. Chapter 21, in which Krishna encourages his parents, places Ugrasena on the throne, becomes the pupil of Sandpani, whose son he recovers from the sea. He kills the marine demon Panchajana and makes a horn of a shell. Having permitted to Devaki and Vasudeva an interval of true knowledge through the contemplation of his actions, Hari again spread the delusions of his power over them and the tribe of Yadu. He said to them, "Mother, venerable father, you have both been long observed by Sankarsana and myself with sorrow and in fear of Kamsa. He whose time passes not in respect to his father and mother is a vile being who descends in vain from virtuous parents. The lives of those produce good fruit who reverence their parents, their spiritual guides, the Brahmans and the gods. Pardon therefore, Father, the impropriety of which we may have been culpable in resenting without your orders, to which we acknowledge that we are subject, the oppression we suffered from the power and violence of Kamsa." Thus speaking, they offered homage to the elders of the Yadu tribe in order, and then in a suitable manner paid the respects to the citizens. The wives of Kamsa and those of his father then surrounded the body of the king lying on the ground and bewailed his fate in deep affliction. Hari, in various ways, expressed his regret for what had chanced and endeavored to console them, his own eyes being suffused with tears. The foe of Madhu then liberated Ugrasena from confinement and placed him on the throne, which the death of his son had left vacant. The chief of the Yadavas, being crowned, performed the funeral rites of Kamsa and of the rest of the slain. When the ceremony was over and Ugrasena had resumed his royal seat, Krishna addressed him and said, "Sovereign Lord, command boldly what else is to be done. The curse of Yayati has pronounced our race unworthy of dominion. But with me for your servant, you may issue your orders to the gods. How should kings disobey them?" Thus having spoken, the human Keshava summoned mentally the deity of the wind, who came upon the instant and said to him, "Go, Vayu, to Indra and desire him to lay aside his pomp and resign to Ugrasena his splendid hall Sudharman. Tell him that Krishna commands him to send the royal hall, the unrivaled gem of princely courts, for the assemblage of the race of Yadu." Accordingly, Vayu went and delivered the message to the husband of Sachi, who immediately gave up to him the hall Sudharman, and Vayu conveyed it to the Yadavas, the chiefs of whom thenceforth possessed this celestial court, emblazoned with jewels and defended by the arm of Govinda. The two excellent Yadu youths, versed in all knowledge and possessed of all wisdom, then submitted to instruction as the disciples of teachers. Accordingly, they repaired to Sandpani, who, though born in Kashi, resided at Avanti to study the science of arms, and becoming his pupils were obedient and attentive to their master, exhibiting an example to all men of the observance of instituted rules. In the course of 64 days, they had gone through the elements of military science with the treatises on the use of arms and directions for the mystic incantations which secure the aid of supernatural weapons. Sandipani, astonished at such proficiency and knowing that it exceeded human faculties, imagined that the sun and moon had become his scholars. When they had acquired all that he could teach, they said to him, "Now say what presents shall be given to you as the preceptors feel." The prudent Sandipani, perceiving that they were endowed with more than mortal powers, requested them to give him his dead son, drowned in the sea of Prabhasa. Taking up their arms, they marched against the ocean. But the all-comprehending sea said to them, "I have not killed the son of Sandipani." A demon named Panchajana, who lives in the form of a conch shell, seized the boy. He is still under my waters. On hearing this, Krishna plunged into the sea, and having slain the vile Panchajana, he took the conch shell, which was formed of his bones, and bore it as his horn, the sound of which fills the demon hosts with dismay, animates the vigor of the gods, and annihilates unrighteousness. The heroes also recovered the boy from the pains of death and restored him in his former person to his father. Rama and Janardhana then returned to Mathura, which was well presided over by Ugrasena and abounded in a happy population both of men and women.